No, no, no. Então,
Não percebi se o Afonso está ali mesmo. Se não. Não percebi se o Afonso está ali
ah,
mesmo.
okay. Elad, can you talk, please?
Não percebi se o Afonso está ali mesmo.
Okay.
Elad, can you talk, please?
Hello, hello. Oh, we're live already? Oh, shit. Okay. It says live here. I can't hear you now.
We are testing the sound. The only
Okay.
way to test it is to transmit live. So say hi.
Yeah, technical.
But nobody's seeing us. Elad, can you
Okay.
please talk?
The bilingual.
Alfonso, can you hear Elad?
No. Right now, no.
No, we're not hearing you. Not at all. No. Can you try taking off the phones if you have?
Não, mas o ouvido.
Às vezes não faz mal, mas eu tenho coisa hoje. Eu provavelmente não vai saber ao som.
Try to talk again, Elad, please. Now, Alfonso, can you hear him?
No?
No,
Oh,
no.
wait. Again?
Take off your phones.
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah, it's better now.
Say something.
Hey, hello.
Yes. Hello. Okay.
Okay. So my earphones are bad.
Okay.
Both of them.
Okay, so I'm going to remove ourselves. It will be just you guys. And Katerina has your number, Alfonso. So
I have.
she will send you. Yeah, okay. So enjoy. See you
Thank
in an
you.
hour.
See ya.
Thank you.
In 3, 2, 1, action.
All right. Hello, and welcome to the last episode, because it's the last day of the festival of the Irreverente Improv Festival podcast 2023. Today we have our beautiful guest, Elad Jishai. I hope I'm saying Jishai.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for being here, Elad.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Yes. Where are you now, if I may ask?
I'm in a friend's house because in my home there is no internet connection. So I just came here to visit
nice.
him.
The light is a bit dark. You're a bit like a shadowy character.
Yeah, no, maybe this is a little better, but
It's okay. You can be a mysterious Elad. That's also good.
yeah. I
Good
mean,
content.
I'm a musician anyway. No one is supposed to see me.
Exactly. Working in the shadows, working your magic.
Yeah.
So,
This
Elad, tell us a little bit about you for the people that don't know you. What's your background and why do you think you're here today?
Well, so technically, my background is all around theater and music. I learned music since I was 3 or 6, depending on how you look at it, and theater since I was 10 years old. So it was just a matter of time till the point that it will merge together and I'll do music for theater. Uh, and what I'm doing here today, probably talking about music and theater and music and improv. And I guess I was invited because I played music in the last Irreverente festival.
Yes, I actually heard that, and I heard that it was amazing.
Mm.
So without being there last year, congratulations, because it's not easy. In my opinion, at least, it's not easy to do music live for an improvised show, and it's really hard to do it well in a way that it, you know, wraps the scene and inspires the actors. So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. I would say that it from the outside for a non-musician it would look way harder to do it,
Hmm.
but the way I see it, music is a language, just like Portuguese or English. I speak fluent music, and most of the actors speak some sort of music fluency, so we can all connect in this. Uh, how do you say this word? Non-verbal language.
Yeah, I see your point, but at the same time, the same as when you're an improviser, you're being an actor, a scriptwriter, and a director at the same time. But you need another skill, which is being able to do it on the spot and trust that it's going to
Mhm.
be okay. I guess it's a little bit the same with music, right? You can be a great musician, but not being able to improvise.
Yeah.
And in this case, I would add something else, which is not just improvise, because I know a lot of musicians that would be able to improvise. Jazz musicians, like it's part of their training,
Mhm.
right? But in the case of a musician for an improvised show, you also need to be attentive to what's going on, being listening to that at the same time that you are composing, and being able to relate, okay, how can my music affect what they're doing and inspire them, and what they are doing inspire me, which to me is one more skill.
Yeah, I mean, music for theater or any other mediums is very different than music for just music's sake, like bands and stuff like this. The whole way you're thinking is different. The rules are different. Uh, so in my case, I have a lot of background in theater, so I can see how to combine the music better with the act. Uh, I mean, in theater, music has few key positions, few key things that the music needs to achieve. One of them is pacing, for example, to know when we need to lay down now and just have a little mellow scene, and when to push through and do a very rhythmic and jumpy scene. And so this is one thing. The other thing is uh, applying the emotions. I can. I lost my English today. Sorry, but I can support your emotional part now. If you're doing like a very melodramatic scene, I can support it and enhance it. And on the other way, I can decide that this is getting too emotional. Maybe I'll do something that will break it up to, break up this tension. And what else? There are more things that music do, of course, but this I would say is the main thing to uh, drive the emotion and drive the pacing.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you get started with playing for improv shows? Where did you first start with improv, and then I said I could do the musician part, or did you get a gig to do the music in a show and then you just realize, oh, improv is nice? Because you also play as an actor, right?
I studied theater, but I didn't play as an actor
Right.
since 2011 or something like this, like before my real career started.
Okay.
And what happened is I have a lot of friends in acting schools, and one group of them called the Dodot uh, they started to do a long form improvisation, and they said, we want a musician, maybe you want to come? And I said, yes, I will try it. And a few years later, improv is my main job, and this is what I do most of the time. uh, so it was just about getting the right opportunity from the right people.
Nice, nice. Did you? What was your learning process into getting there? Because probably, I mean, we had that in Berlin, and there's, just because you're a musician, not necessarily you from scratch know how to do. So, like, what was your training on becoming a good musician for improv shows? Did someone teach you, or you just had to figure it out and created your own method, or how was that?
um, Sort of, I mostly created my own method, which comes from doing music for scripted theater for a few years before that. And so there I developed a lot of the skills of thinking like the editor and the music producer of the show. And from there, it's just a lot of experiment and errors and stuff like this. Because unfortunately, most of the actors, they don't know how to give me inputs because they are in their different headspace. So a lot of times it's hard for me to get like concrete inputs about how I'm doing and what I should do better or less, and I'm trying to nitpick from what people tells me and how I feel,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. Okay. And so now, when was that? When was your first show with the Dodos? Do you remember?
I think it was 2016
Okay.
was the first show, and it was before I saw my first long form. It was I was with the Dodo for like 6 months or 8 months before we went to Fifth Finland Improv Festival,
Huh?
and over there I saw my first long form. I
Nice.
performed in long form before I even saw one.
Very cool.
Um, yeah, and for me it was like mind blowing experience. It was like, oh shit, this is improv. Okay, okay.
Nice. All right. And now you said the main thing you do is improv, music for improv. Where is that?
Mhm.
Is it mostly in Israel or where?
Mostly in Israel. I perform all around the country, uh, both with uh, short form improv, playback, if you ever heard about it, playback theater, and long form, which unfortunately I get to do the least, but I love the most.
Ah, nice, nice. And is it normally just you as a musician, or do you sometimes play with other musicians and like a little band?
I had a few experiences with playing with more than one musician. It For me it changes everything. It's usually I'm the only one who occupies the music language.
Hmm.
And now when I have someone with me, there are two things that can happen. Either we connect really, really, really well, and in that way it's easy for me to stop listening to the actors and just jamming with the musician. And sometimes we not connect as well. There is a lot of trying to bridge the gaps between both of us and the actors. So it's not that easy, but when it happens and it works, it's so impressive, and
Nice.
it's so much fun.
But it's dangerous, as you said, no. So the chances of like it being harder, at least for you guys, are higher when you're playing with someone as when you're playing alone, right?
Yes, but, when I'm playing alone, it doesn't matter if I
Yeah.
start to play in C or in G. But if
Yeah.
I'm playing with another musician, I need to somehow uh, purvey the message.
Yeah.
And usually we try to do it without words as much as we can.
Yeah. Uh, and you also go to a lot of festivals, I guess.
As much as I can. Last year I was there in Lisbon, and actually in this September I'll go to Manila, to the Philippines.
Cool. Cool
Yes,
stuff.
going back there after a few years. 4 years ago I was there with the Dodot, and now we're coming back.
Very cool. Very cool. So for someone who's listening to us and is like, is maybe a musician that does improv, or is an improviser that has a little bit of background in music and says like, maybe I could do the music for a gig show, um, or for just like basic musicians that don't have anything to do with improv but thought like, oh, this could be a thing that I sharpen my skills and learn how to do my music for improv shows. What would be, if you have any tips of like, okay, train this skill, or pay attention to this, or even this is how you can get gigs, go to groups and see their show. I don't know, what are your tips from your experience that you can give to our audience?
Well, it kind of differs between which kind of people I'm talking to. If there are the person I'm talking to is a musician already that wants to go to the transition to improv theater, I would say forget about what you know about music. Forgo all the things you know about beats and key changes and stuff like this. Go with the flow. The actors lead the way. If it's a musical, try to, as much as you can, signal the actors with walking bass or stuff like this. Where are you going to? And for the non-musicians who want to start doing music, I would say, first of all, jam the hell out of yourself. I mean, go home, put on some music and jam with it until it gets burned through your veins and soul. And once you start to understand how music goes from one step to another, and the little necks and crunks of the music, then it will be much easier to you to improvise, because we are improvising in our fluent language. When I'm improvising I can speak very, very little Spanish, but if I'll try to improvise in Spanish, it won't work. I don't have enough fluency to move it on.
Yeah.
So this is for the musicians and for the non-musicians. And about gigs, I've been lucky enough to get myself like in one show, other performers see me and then they talk to me and they send my number to each other. This is how I do my jam, uh, which requires a lot of luck and a lot of patience. But this is my way, at least.
Okay. Okay. What are your instruments? Is it piano, or do you play something else?
Piano is my major. I very rarely I perform without the piano, but I also most of the time I play on the cajon, and I play flutes and harmonica and whatever falls in my hands. The thing is, in the start of my way, in the first Dodo shows, I came with like my whole instrument shebang with my piano, my cajon, and other drums, saxophone, the guitar, whatever. And during our 40 minutes long, I was like, but I didn't play this, and I didn't play that one, and I didn't play that one, and make my brain so fired up because I need to uh, do everything. So I decided to knock it down and just
Simplify.
yes. So now in most of my shows, I have piano, I have cajon, and I have pantam.
Pan what? What was the last
Pantam.
one? What's pantam?
Uh, People say it looks like a Ninja Turtles armor. It's
Ah, like a hang drum. The
yes,
kung, kung, kung.
yes,
Got it.
exactly.
Hang drum. Yes, yes, yes. Um, cool. So we talked about tips for musicians that want to do improv. What about tips that you could give from your perspective as a musician in improv shows? Tips for actors, for improvisers during a show to get the most out of the luxury, which is having a musician on your show. Because I'm sure you have seen shows where the where the actors really jumped with you and got into the flow, and also shows where like music was just background thing, didn't inspire
Mhm.
them, you didn't get inspired by them, and it didn't help them make a more beautiful show. So what are the tips for a show where the first thing happens and not the second?
Well, the first thing I will say is remember that the musician is another improviser on stage. The fact that you don't dance around and play and talk to him doesn't mean that he's not another improviser. So this is my first tip. Just put it in the back of your hand. The second one is feel free to take a deep breath, listen to the music before you get inside the stage. And if you feel the change, you can go with it and breathe it out and just uh, sorry for the expression, but shut up and try to connect on the physical level, because a lot of the times music and text can't go together very well. If I want to convey a message for you, it will a lot of time come clashing with your text, with the dialogue. So because of this, a lot of time the best thing to do is take a breath, and a few seconds of silence can help you both set up your mind, and you know you can have the seconds of silence because you have a musician to back you up.
Nice.
Hopefully it made any sense.
Yeah, totally, totally. I mean, to me, this is not new because I totally agree with that. But hopefully, someone is listening or will listen and go like, "True," because it's very true.
Hopefully.
Like, it happens even in workshops when you start a scene, and instead of just like 3, 2, 1, go, you go like, "Here's 10 seconds of music,"
Mhm.
and the actors are just playing physically. A whole different thing develops because
Yeah.
people chill down and like it gets more grounded, more emotional, so more connected with the body. So absolutely.
Moreover than this, it's kind of going with conventions of scripted theater and movies and stuff like this. It's
Yeah,
the rule of thumb is the order is music, lights, and then scene,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because the music comes before everything. It engulfs your ears,
yeah,
which are less. How do I say it? Uh, it's less like objective than what you see.
yeah,
The music is very
yeah,
amorphic. This is
yeah.
the word I'm looking for. Yes.
And if you would keep on the list, so it's music, lights, scene, and within the scene you first have like um image, kind of like background, if anything, which in improv would often mean just actors shutting up and showing us where they are, then connecting, like then looking at each other, trying to put emotion in there, and the last thing is words, where even
Yeah,
action can come before the words. So if you build that up, all that, the words will matter much more than if just
yeah,
like here words empty, completely empty.
yeah, exactly. Uh, and the more you can sustain it before you start going towards, I think the scene has much more power. But
Absolutely. So, what's a recommendation? Maybe you don't have anything, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I'm sure there's someone here thinking, okay, but in my group we can't afford a musician, or we could, but we don't know anyone. But let's imagine like someone is listening and they do shows, but they can't afford a musician for whatever reason. What's something they can do to get a bit of that, even if they don't have a person on a piano playing live?
interesting. I would guess it would differ in the skill level of the actors, but I saw in that fifth, my first international festival, I saw a group from the Czech Republic. I actually played with them, but they were singing a cappella a lot of time, and I came with my piano and my cajon and everything. It kind of ruined it for them because their voices were so strong and fulfilling that I wasn't needed with the piano. At least the cajon could help them more. So if you have the skills to full to fill the audio space with your voices and with your clicks and whatever, do it. Because a lot of time I can feel like I'm having a sound event, even when people just move their hands. I can hear this motion in my mind. So
Mm,
this is one thing. You can fill the
okay.
void with your sound that you can create. Uh, Maybe I'm really bad at it, but there are people that would be better than me to just use your phone and activate some music like a DJ. It could help also.
Okay.
Uh, and well, it's not. I guess it won't work for every genre, but I saw a few shows in Copenhagen where there was just it is a duo of actors, and that's it. And something in the way that they were acting, they held the dramatic space so well that I said, okay, well, I don't need the music. You're doing it well enough.
Nice. Nice. Um, so yeah, I mean, you said you're not good at it, but like maybe you have ideas of when someone is trying to DJ for a show and play not live music.
Mhm.
Um, Anything they can think of, like would you say don't play the beginning of the song, play something in the middle, or do play the beginning because that's how crescendo starts, or when can someone doing DJing in a show, when can they know when to put the music down, when to put it up to maybe close a scene or do a change of scenes? Any ideas of, or on your experience, what could work, or yeah.
Um, I would say that, and take it with a grain of salt, because everything I say now is about my personal taste.
Absolutely.
But I would say that as a rule of thumb, I think that popular songs are not so good in an improv show. It it breaks immersion. So at the most instrumental you can get, no lyrics, the better. And if it's something instrumental that it's so I don't know, so popular that people already will connect it to something.
That's
If I'll do like the Godfather music in the middle of an improv show, it says something very specific about
yeah,
this thing.
yeah.
So if you do it, tread carefully, and if you don't, you have much more freedom uh, to do whatever you want. But I would say, as a rule of thumb, go instrumental, and in general, in theater, there are two ways to get the music on and off. It's either play pause or fade in, fade out. And the difference between those changes is, do you want to dissolve the scene or do you want to break the scene? So know how to fade in and fade out.
Yeah.
I think it's very how long to take and
Yeah.
how high to get and how low to get and things like this.
Yeah.
And
Is
if
there
you do it on stage, good luck. I admire you.
nice? Um, is there any band, because you were speaking about like music that is not without lyrics and so on, instrumental? Is there any band or any musician or a composer that you said, "Oh, this is," because you do your own, you normally won't use it, but if you would be a DJ, do you have any band in mind that you like that you say like, "Oh, this could be great music for a show"?
Wow, that is a
I'm putting
great
you against the,
against the wall.
against the wall all the time. If you can also answer, I don't know, because we are
um,
humans. That's fine.
no, but I'll try to give an answer. So uh, mm, 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 mm. let me think about it for 1 second. I would say a lot of the times you should go search for ambience and the whole shebang is like this. if any of you are gaming enthusiasts and play tabletop games, so probably you use music for the atmosphere of the game. The same music could work well as well. Uh, if you want a lot of how do you say reference to popular songs, there are a lot of instrumental versions of popular songs. For example, Rock Swings by Paul Anka. It's an album of swing covers to rock songs, or uh, stuff like this. What more instrumentals can I think of? Maybe Meute. It's I think it's a German marching band,
Okay.
Meute, and they do all instrumental, and they are amazing. Just as a fun hearing, it's a great listening. And I think I'll stop here with trying to give inspirations to things I'm not sure about.
What's your thought on soundtracks, like film soundtracks? Would you recommend them, or they can, or better not for some reason?
I would say it depends on how popular and how well known it is. If you will go, for example, for the Pirates of the Caribbean theme, bam, 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 it's so recognizable you can't ignore
Yeah,
it.
too much. So
When you do this, you will probably should reference it as a joke or as a gag or something like this.
yeah,
When I do it, when I play live music, a lot of times I start referencing a popular song, and the second I see like 10% of the audience got it, okay, now it's time to change. I don't
nice.
want to hold it too much because then it's like it breaks immersion.
Nice, nice. Um, is there so you've been, how many festivals have you been on, more or less, if you remember?
I think 6,
Okay.
maybe 7.
What are things like, I could ask you for some anecdote, if you happen to have one in your mind. If you don't, let me know, and I'll ask you a more specific question. But if you have any anecdote of like, oh, this happened when I was playing this and with the music, and it was interesting, I'm curious to hear.
Can you
Otherwise, I'll
like
ask you. Yeah. Don't worry.
can you direct me a little bit what kind of anecdotes?
I mean, not necessarily. No, I just changed the question. So the question is like, when you go to festivals, uh, what do you think? Because you have seen a lot of shows, same as
Mhm.
most of us, but like, maybe from a different perspective. So, in your opinion, and this is just your opinion, no need
Mhm.
for expertise here, but like, what makes an improv show work and what doesn't?
Uh, okay, I would say it starts by having the improvisers on the stage being uh, calm and confident, which a lot of times it's something you can't see unless you have the enough experience to see the nervousness behind the improviser. But first of all, is like make the stage your home. Uh, this works great. The second thing is uh, even when I'm doing ask fors and taking ideas from the suggestions from the audience and everything like this, the best improvisers for me is the ones that say, "Okay, I hear you. Now you shut up and let me do the work."
Uh-huh.
Okay, just sit down and enjoy. This is a performance. It's not a workshop.
Mhm.
So this, and I'm freak of narrative. So for me, the more well made the narrative is, uh, this is where I think that the best improv shines. And the last and the most important thing is uh, actually acting and bringing truth to the characters. You know, a lot of improvisers are not coming from acting schools or stuff like this, and to actually be in the moment and be the character and not just uh, step into their shoes, it makes the world of difference.
Okay, okay. Thanks for that. Uh, are there any times when you see, like, you feel tempted to actually go on stage?
Well, every time there is a piano on stage, I feel
No,
tempted.
I mean acting. You sometimes feel like, I want to do this too.
What? Very, very little bit. Um, I assume that one day I will go on stage, like to act. But for now, there is very special spot being the musician on stage. It's like I'm on stage, but I'm off stage. I'm the ghost of the show, uh, and I kind of like it. To come up front, I know I can do it, but I'm not sure how much I want it. I mean, I get enough focus even when I'm behind the piano.
Yeah, because being you said you have acting training, so maybe you could do a good job even, no?
I'm sure I could do a good job, but it will. I will need to die from inside a few times before to decide to go back on stage, uh, and also, honestly, I don't know how it's going to sound, but for me, one of the hardest moments on stage is when I perform in a small theater that there is no backstage or something like this. So when I'm going off the stage, I'm going through the audience, and we just finished the show. And for me, it's like, no, no, no. It's too much for me to hear you now. Uh, Grateful audience, thank you. I want to run back and smoke something. So doing it as an actor when I have more focus over me,
Yeah,
I don't know how can I hold this.
nice. Um, how is the you've probably been in both or still are in both communities, kind of groups of people, the musicians and the improvisers. I don't know if within the music world you were more inside like classical music or jazz or um,
More
I-
like rock, folk. This is
roll.
what
Okay.
my
Okay.
main thing is a musician.
How does that crew, that type of people, of course, we're generalizing,
Hmm.
compare to the crew of like improv people?
Completely different. One of the reasons I do only improv. The one thing I do today, which is not improv, is one scripted show, which I have written the music for, composed it, and I kind of left all the singer songwriters I play with and stuff like this a few years back, because with musicians, a lot of times I sit in a rehearsal. First of all, rehearsals, so much rehearsals, so much rehearsals. Wow, not for me. I mean, you wanna you, to put on a show, so you do 3 hours rehearsal, and in that 3 hours rehearsal, you made 5 songs, and you need to do 13 for this show to hold up like an hour or something. And this is only one rehearsal. And in the second rehearsal, you need to go. Never mind. I'll stop complaining about that. But a lot of time you're in rehearsal and you're doing a mistake or something like this, and you get the looks of bad vibes like, "Ah, what are you doing? You're ruining the song, you're killing it." And this could just, in a snap, kill your whole confidence. And in improv, it's part of the I
Process.
don't know. Yeah, it's part of the process is
Yeah.
making mistakes and accepting your mistakes and having fun with it and going on. And even if you do rehearsals, it's like, okay, we did one long form and basically the rehearsal is over. So we do a few exercises and then we do one long and that's it. 2 hours rehearsal and that's it. You're ready for the show. For me, I can do it without rehearsals a lot of times. So uh, the mindset of uh, musicians and improvisers and actors, which are all different. It's it, it's like we're all in the art and stage business, but we're all in such different ways of thinking.
Nice, nice. Um, do you do you think that um, improv could become a thing that musicians learn as part of their training, even if they're not going to do improv in their whole life? That could improve their musician careers.
The second thing you said, the last thing you said, I completely agree. If you learn to do improv as a musician, you will refine your skills better, no doubt. But I'm kind of skeptic about the idea of music schools will train musicians to do improv theater, because even in acting schools, most of acting schools have like one course of improv, and it's like you usually teach it as a tool to do scripted shows. Uh, I have in one of the acting schools in Israel. I had once every year I come to do a workshop with their improv teacher together, and every time when we after this workshop, people tell me like, yeah, it needs to be more. Uh, it needs to be a bigger integral part of acting schools, but it doesn't happen. So I would say that for music to do improv theater, it's the niche inside the niche inside the niche. I doubted that ever that any acting music school would do it.
I hope maybe one day in 20 years I can call you and say, Elad, look what's happening. Remember
Well,
20 years ago you said it was impossible? We made it.
well, if you do this, please say I'm coming to teach.
Awesome. Yeah. Or maybe you call me and say, like, I told you, it's never gonna.
I tried and it all failed.
uh, okay. You mentioned before musicals.
Hmm.
What's your experience with that? And what do you enjoy better? Because for audience members that don't understand well the difference, at least my idea of it is very often you have improv shows that are not music based, and you have a musician putting like inspiring, putting background sound, music, and doing transitions and all that stuff. But then there's another thing, which is a musical by itself, which is a show based on songs, based on singing and dancing, um, where music takes a bigger role and is part of the uh, part of yeah the songs that drive the narrative forward.
Yeah.
So, what's your experience? Those two questions. What's your experience with that, and what do you enjoy better, and why do you enjoy more or less, either or?
Okay. So
So, three
uh,
questions.
yeah, I'll start with the first one. So in the first one, it's I have much more experience with non-musical shows, which the music is just doing a support role, just like 90% of the films you see, pretty much. Uh, so this is I have much more experience with that. Musicals I enjoy a lot, and they kind of behave differently in how I work for them. What I prefer, this is a really, really, really hard question, because uh,
Putting you in the spot again.
yes, yes,
Sorry.
I'm really bad at favorites, first of all. But I'll say this: in musical, uh, usually this is the convention. When I started to play, it's going to be about 10 seconds to 1 minute from the moment I started playing to the moment a song starts, which I don't always agree with it, because if you'll see Disney movies or stuff like this, you'll see that there's a lot of time between songs. But a lot of times you do musical, we have 40 minutes to 1 hour, and we want to cramp like 7 to 10 songs, and it's always it's a pushy experience. last year in the Irreverente Festival, I had the show with the big improv music, and we did 10 songs in 40 seconds, which is a lot. It's a workout because when I'm doing songs, it's like all the way. I'm playing both piano and cajon. Everything. It's a workout.
10 songs in 40 minutes?
Yes,
Holy moly, man. That's basically all music all the time.
pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a great experience. It was like running, sprinting a marathon or something like this. A lot of fun. Um, so musical has this part of it of we're feeling that the song is coming on and we don't know how it will gonna work, and then the magic happens. So this is I love it.
Nice.
But in musicals, usually I want to do things like a fight scene or a sort of a dance scene or stuff like that. It's more rare. So the musical gives a lot of options and takes out a few options.
Yeah. Okay.
So I love them both.
Okay.
I can do it.
Yeah. And how you the show you're speaking about, like, I don't know if you've ever like created a show where you, because in Amsterdam in February I was part of a mixer where we prepared a musical from scratch.
Mhm.
And Sasha, I don't know if you know him, he was directing that, and there was a lot of narrative in it. He uh, went with us through a structure of okay how the songs are going to tell the story in a way. But for that you need a big picture of the narrative, and also while playing the music for the songs, kind of like directing of like okay this comes here now. And
Mhm.
do you have any experience with that, or normally you just play the musician in ensembles that already knew how musicals go?
I have experience with both. I'm not a I don't have a group of mine that I direct or something like this, but I have it both. It's I believe about formatting in general that it's good to have a guidelines where you're going. Are we now in the first act, in the second act, in the third act? They're supposed to feel different. So I would say it's good to formatize your long form in
Mhm.
general, but the more you try to stick to the format, the more debilitating it is. I mean, you need to know it by heart and then break it out and
Man,
forget about everything.
I cannot agree more with that. That's so true. Yeah.
Uh,
And
and the same about the songs. A lot of times I see uh, when uh, when people teaching other how to uh, perform a song, they will say, okay, we start with a verse and then another verse and then a chorus and then we repeat the chorus and then we go into another verse and a chorus and repeat the chorus and then a C part and then we go into an ending, which works very good for beginners. But the fastest you can break out of your training wheels, the better you go, and you can actually do the play of playing. You know.
nice. Yeah. It makes me think. It happens in mixers very often. What you said about the formats, it's really interesting, and it happens in mixer teams very often
Mhm.
that you learn a format, and because you just learn it, it's so much here, and it's quite limiting. So I'm thinking like, what if you could have like mixer that you rehearse during the first day of the festival, but the show itself is only the last day of the festival, so that you have a bit of time to go like, bah, whatever.
And to
Uh,
forget about it. Interesting.
I don't know.
I would say that in mixes, it's part of the nature of them because it's all so packed up and we need to deliver very, very fast. We have 4 hours and then we're going on stage. So it's part of it of staying very tense. I would imagine that if the mixer team was the master team, where they all know this basic principle and by heart, they will go, "Ah, okay, we have a format. Okay, let's go," and forget about it and go on stage. Because this is true for everything in improv,
True.
basically.
True. All right. We have no questions from the audience so far. So I think we were really clear, Elad.
Probably, or
Uh,
very clear, or really boring. One of the
or
two.
really boring. Could be. Yeah, thank you so much. Where are you in Israel right now?
Yes,
Which city?
I'm in a small city called Givat Shmuel, which is yeah, which is a city in the center of Israel, pretty close to Tel Aviv.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's been a total pleasure, and I'm happy that we could have this conversation going through different things and putting you against the wall. I don't know if that's the expression. Is that how you say it? Against the wall? Whatever.
In Hebrew, it is.
Yeah, but in Spanish we say against the ropes. You know, as in
Like in the ring.
the ropes exactly. But right now I don't remember how English goes. Okay, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I hope I can see you playing at some other festival at some point.
Maybe we can play together.
Maybe we could play together. Maybe we both should come back to Irreverente and do something.
Well, I will be back in the event 1 year, I'm sure for it.
Perfect. Yeah, me too. And I'm also in love with narrative, so yeah, there's something here. It could
Okay,
work.
okay. We'll work it out.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being here, Alat.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you to the Irreverente Festival for making this possible, for everyone watching. Thank you very much. This will be on YouTube, not just live, but also uploaded. So if you liked it, share with your people, subscribe, and all these things that people in YouTube say. Thank you a lot.
It was a
See you.
pleasure. See you. Bye bye.